you, thank you. I feel like I'm an admiral. I'm married to the most fantastic woman that God has ever created. She's right there. Don't get too close or she will bless you. I checked on the history of VP-4 and found the following on the internet. Starting a long-standing tradition of excellence in 1964, VP-4 marked its 4th year of unequaled operational excellence with 3 Commander Naval Air Force Navy E ribbons, 3 Chief of Naval Operations CNO Safety Awards, 4 Arnold J. Esbell ASW Awards, and no other squadron, VP squadron, in naval history can claim such a record. I was fortunate. I was fortunate to have served in VP-4 during 2 of each of those awards. Some of you here tonight served in all 3 of them. In the early spring of 1962, as XO of VP-31, the Pacific Fleet Replacement Squadron at North Island, received a phone call from the Chief of Staff of Common Pac. He asked me not to enroll at San Diego State University, where I was working on my degree, my bachelor's degree. By the way, I got it 6 months after I retired. I told him that I was, and he warned me not to. But I asked him why. He said, I can't tell you. I said, well, I'm going to register if you're not going to tell me. He said, well, you're going to go in as a direct input as the CO of VP-4. I fell out of my chair. I did not even know that I'd screened for the command. I'd heard of many stories about VP-4, and I didn't believe them. No squadron could be that great. I had hoped that if I ever got one, it would be at the bottom. That way you know which way you could move it. After I arrived at Naha, I went over the squadron orders with Scotty Edmonds, the man I was to relieve. The VP-4 recall list listed a Madame Unoguchi and Namanui as one of the people to call. If you were in Naha, you don't know what this means. He told me to try it. I did. For 1 midnight, I called the SDO and told him to execute the squadron recall, that quarters would be 15 minutes early that morning. 1 man missed it. Madame Umaguchi in November remained on my recall list. I did not need to be in VP-4 but just a short time when I found out that the stories about VP-4 were true. The more I observed, the more I was shocked. But how great were the all-season men in VP-4. To be the skipper of VP-4 during 62 and 63 was like riding 410 Mustangs all at the same time. The ride was rough, but it was fun. I don't know whether the officers and men of VP-4 got the disease before they arrived or got it after they arrived, but it was a disease. I have served in 4 VP squadrons, as Bob mentioned, and all were awarded the coveted Navy E, but none of them could hold a candle to VP-4. You guys were the greatest. Harvey McKay tells a story of a professor who stood before a class of 30 senior molecular biology students. Before he passed out the final exam, he stated, I have been privileged to be your instructor this semester, and I know how hard you have worked to prepare for this test. I also know that most of you are off to medical school or grad school next fall. I am well aware of how much pressure you are under to keep your grade point up. And because I am so confident that you know that material, that I am prepared to offer an automatic B to anyone who opts to skip taking the final exam. The relief was audible. A number of students jumped up from their desk, thanking the professor for the lifeline he had thrown them. Any more takers, he asked. This is your last opportunity. One more student decided to go. The instructor then handed out the final exam, which consisted of 2 sentences. Congratulations, it read, you have just received an A. Keep believing in yourselves. There were 55 officers and 355 men in VP-4 who would have stayed and taken the exam. I inherited a fantastic squadron, but the only thing that I changed was I get rid of one piece of paper. It was the one that the enlisted men needed to get signed in order to get the day off. He needed to get the signatures of 4 or 5 persons before he could take his wife to the doctor. I believe they were the division chief, the division officer, the leading chief, and possibly the XO. I don't remember. My new order was that he had to request permission only from his division chief, and that he was to go. His division chief then replaced him in the shop, in the flight schedule and the watch schedule. Our officers and men were cocky. Our duty driver had a sign that he put in the duty pickup, which he pushed down whenever he took you for a ride. It read, "My name is Braun, and I am the best damn duty driver in the Navy." At Captain's Mast, I would always ask the division chief and division officer what this man was like in the division. If they would vouch for him, the man would get a warning. If they couldn't, he would get the maximum punishment that I could give. All the men soon learned that the skipper did not set the sentence, but it was their division chief, or possibly the division officer. If a man had been picked up for fighting and was brought to mast, he would usually say, "Skipper, that other man said VP-4 was not the best, and I had to hit him." Whether the facts were true or not, this man certainly got a warning. These are